That's what I've been saying to folks at my university, Stanford. And I just said it to a Google executive last week. If the Department of Motor Vehicles can fight friction, you can do it too. I'm Bob Sutton. I'm an organizational psychologist. For about the last 15 years, Huggy Rao and I have been studying how organizations grow. But all these organizations we know, Google, Facebook, Salesforce, the sort of Silicon Valley giants, well, as they got larger and more complex, things got harder and harder to get done. There's good friction and there's bad friction. I think that's the easiest way to think about it. There's things that should be easy. It should be easy to make a decision where there's little consequence. When you're a leader, there's often this problem that you become oblivious to what's around you. And there might be some people who are more oblivious than others, but it comes with the position. One of the classic things that happens is leaders don't realize that they sort of send weak signals and then they get magnified. And we call this executive magnification. I talked to this guy, the CEO of a Fortune 10 company, huge company. He went to a breakfast meeting and he said, "Oh, there's no blueberry muffins." Then everywhere he went, he couldn't figure it out for years. There were piles of blueberry muffins. And eventually somebody said it was in the notes, in all caps, "Make sure you have blueberry muffins." And he just made an innocent comment. In Wisconsin, I was doing a talk on scaling, and I'm talking to this poor middle manager. And I was talking about that my current love then was design thinking, to how to make people more innovative. I've been involved in design thinking for a long time. And I asked this middle manager, "How's design thinking going?" He said, "Well, we got design thinking, we got digital transformation, we got agile, and we've got DEI. And I'm supposed to be doing all four at once. And I've got so many goals for these different things, I actually can't focus on doing my job." And that would be an example of sort of a leader who's out there, who's enthusiastic, but is not realizing what it feels like on the ground. So this idea of friction blindness or being unaware of what you're doing to folks is a big problem. Organizations tend to reward people who just add stuff. So people who have bigger fiefdoms, people who start initiatives, people who buy more software that we have to learn, those tend to be the people who get rewarded. So the challenge in organizations is to be aware of the fact that we're just heaping more and more stuff on people and then trying to find ways to subtract it. My favorite friction fixer I met, and we're following up on this, was at the California Department of Motor Vehicles. I had to go to the DMV and I got there at 7:30 in the morning. I had to do some complicated title change. And there was about 60 people in line in front of me. It was like, oh no, I'm gonna be here all day. At about 7:40, this guy, he walks down the line and he asks each of us why we're there. And he has a bunch of forms. And if we needed a form, he gave it to us to fill out. If people didn't need to be there, he'd get them out of line. It was just amazing. And it was because this guy was sort of like a tour guide through the system. It used to be that the average time was 28 minutes. Now it's 8 minutes. That to me is an improvement. And so that's what I've been saying to folks at my university, Stanford. And I just said it to a Google executive last week, which is that if the Department of Motor Vehicles can fight friction, you can do it too. So what we have in my university, Stanford, is that suppose that I take a speaker out to dinner and I turn in my receipt. Magically, there are some people in finance, when I give them my receipts, they see their job as to make things better, to ease the process, to make sure that I don't spend too much time. So that's sort of like a grease person. And then there are people in the exact same position who sort of are on a power trip, and they send it back over and over and over again. It's people in the exact same position. One of them's a grease person, the other one's a gunk person. So when I think about what you can do as an individual, the way that I think about it, what can I do given what I have to make things easier? So to us, I would sort of look yourself in the mirror and say, am I a grease person or a gunk person, based on where I sit?